Hi, this is Alex from phpacademy.org with a video tutorial for the new Boston. In this video we're going to be taking a look at creating something like this where we have a couple, maybe 3 or 4 forms, obviously depending on how many you need, and we're going to be assigning a minimum limit to them. Now I've just labelled these 5 and 10, but obviously these might be something like username or password or address, any kind of data. So when we click on them you can see that we have this span that's added to the next to the text field, and what's going to happen is as I type something into here, when we reach the 5 characters required, you'll see it disappears. The same with the 10 one, but I've set the minimum length to 10, and therefore we have 10 characters required. So as I'm typing something, you see that it will disappear when it gets to the 10 minimum. So we're going to do this, and we're going to assign this to all text or input fields with the type text inside of our page. So we can go ahead and do this. Also, some other functionality you'll notice is that when I click, I have this message. When I click away and I haven't entered at least 5, the message will the message will disappear anyway. But if I was to go ahead and say enter Alex and click away, when I click back in, I still get this 5 characters required. When I then click away after I've entered the 5 and click back in, we don't get the message reappear. So we don't want it to keep being displayed to our user if they've already entered 5 characters. The other thing to note is that we are using blur, so for example it's not just when we click in, it might be when we say tab up or tab down to a particular field, and when we obviously tab away we use the blur, and when we click in we use the focus event handler. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual code itself. Okay, so over to index.php in my text editor, which is the file that, or the demonstration you saw on the page here. We're going to be creating the actual form field elements on this page, and we've obviously gone ahead and included jQuery as a JavaScript file, and also this file ext, which is also in the JS directory as a JavaScript file as well. And this just means that we can obviously make use of jQuery, but then in ext.js we can go ahead and actually write our jQuery code to avoid inline scripting. We'll keep everything external in this ext, which means external file. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is create an area with my input type or input field with the type text. I'm just going to go ahead and give this an attribute min length, which is obviously an attribute that doesn't exist, but we're going to use our jQuery code to pick up on this min length attribute. So for the first one I'm going to choose 5, and let's just go ahead and just give that a label 5, and let's come down and do another one, and for this one we'll say 10, and we'll set the input type to text and the min length to 10. Okay, so now that we've done this, we have something like this on our page. We've got 5 and 10. We now need to go ahead and start to write our jQuery code, and we need to assign event handlers to these as we actually click into them. They come into focus when we come away from them, i.e. they're blurred, and when we're typing as well, so obviously the key up function or the key up event handler. So inside ex.js, the first thing we want to go ahead and do is use document.ready as we would with all of our jQuery code, just to make sure that the DOM is available and we can start to use, apply event handlers to elements and take attributes from our elements. So the first thing we want to go ahead and do is actually use a jQuery selector to select all text fields on the page, so all input fields with the type text. So we do this just using a standard notation for a selector, and inside of here we choose input. Obviously this would select all input fields on the page, but what we want to go ahead and do is in brackets specify type equals text, and this will select all input fields with the type text on the page. Obviously you could go ahead and individually reference these. For example, you could use .class, and if these had a particular class, for example class equals class, obviously class here would be picked up here, but I think it's important to go ahead and select all of them, and if you don't I've just removed a bit more than I needed to. If we don't go ahead and specify a minimum length, then our application or our input field won't be affected. So the first thing we want to go ahead and do is apply the event handler focus to this. And inside here, we're going to go ahead and create a function, and we're just going to bring that down a bit. So on focus, we want something to happen. So let's go ahead and just alert something out just so we know this is working. So working. And this just basically means that when we click and bring this into focus, we get this message up here saying working, so we know that that works. And it's going to do it a few times because we're still in focus. So we'll just get rid of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get rid of that and refresh our page. Okay, so now that we know that the focus event handler is working, what we want to do is create sort of like a not a pseudo variable, but a sort of variable called this val, and that's going to equal to this, and essentially this just references the current element that we're on, and now we can use this underscore val to reference the current text field that we're on. That's essentially what we're doing there. We need to pick up the minimum length attribute, so I'm just going to pull this in here and just tab this over so it looks a bit neater. In fact, no, my text editor is not allowing me, so I'll just have to space over. Okay, so what we're going to be doing for the min length, we're going to need to take the attribute that we've specified here, which is called min length. So we need to use the attr function in jQuery. So I'm just going to say this underscore cell, remember selecting this here, dot attr, which obviously stands for attribute, and then we specify the attribute name, which is min length. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to alert out min length, and we can see that when we select this, we're taking this dot attribute min length and we're just alerting it out.